It's November 26, 2018. I'm just watching these news stories about the stabbing that occurred in Quail Meadows in Carmel Valley. And I guess the suspect's name is Jacob Lee. He's currently being held in Monterey County Jail on about $5 million plus bail, which is a little bit higher than some of the averages I've seen for people that have attempted murder and crimes such as that. Anyways, the news is out there, and I guess the security guards that patrol or maintain the gate at that private property area in Carmel Valley, they're having problems with news crews and news trucks and so forth coming out and wanting to get information. If the local news and the local media wanted to know what was happening, they would listen to radio traffic, scanners, etc., and they would probably know more than I do right now. And the only reason I know anything is because someone called me up and told me that, hey, are you listening? I wasn't. I was just watching TV, sitting at home, minding my own. And I knew the guy's name. I got online and I found out who owned the property, and when it was last sold, how much it sold for, etc., etc. All this information is available online. I could probably go and do a little background on the person, on this Jacob Lee, and find out if he has any past convictions. That's all available online. The news media doesn't do anything, but after the fact, they're out there and they're disrupting the flow of traffic and people that live in that neighborhood and, wanting to ask questions. I guess, if you really wanted to know what was happening, you'd pay attention live. But some of these same people didn't bother to wink an eye or bat an eye when the local municipalities all went private and encrypted their radio transmissions. The sheriffs just happen to be one agency that doesn't do that. I guess because of the distance and so forth that they have to cover, they weren't able to do that. But what I heard in the radio calls was that this person was off their medication and they have psychological issues. I'm not going to go any further than that. But it's, so they're disturbed in some way, shape, or form. And whatever happened, happened. And, maybe those folks don't want you to know why. But, you would have known his name. You didn't need to wait for the sheriff to tell you because they broadcast that information. The other information that I think is pretty important and wonderful is that from what I was told, the earlier part of the call went out that they'd called Seaside Fire because they have a drone. And I'm guessing because it's fire agency, it's probably got thermal on it. So they were looking for this guy running around in the woods after he left the house. He fled the scene. They called for a canine unit. The closest unit I think was down the coast in Big Sur handling a domestic case at the time. They called out sheriffs from Castroville and Salinas. So there was an extended time. Actually, one of the people that I talked to said that they heard and saw sheriff's deputies flying past where they were located, and they were still 7-8 miles away. This goes to having coverage with the sheriff's office that we don't necessarily have because we're too busy spending $2 million on healthcare for illegal aliens out at Natividad, because that's where the Board of Supervisors thinks that funding needs to go. So you have that, you have the distance. They tried to get a helicopter so that they could search the area. One of the comments on radio traffic, I believe, was this person is known for being able to hide out in the woods. That didn't seem to be the case because the deputy arrested him at gunpoint. And I heard that part of the call. But if KSBW and KION really wanted to know what the hell was going on, they'd have some of these incompetent people they call journalists monitoring radio traffic, listening in, learning the language, so to speak, and then they'd have a much better understanding of what was happening, when it was happening, instead of after the fact trying to go and harass Thornburg at the front door asking him what happened, because you probably already know everything you needed to know. And you could search most of it online. You could do background checks. You can do all that stuff online. Anyways, I just had to rant about it because it really bugs the hell out of me when people like Felix Cortez are out there, and just they're oblivious. They are freaking oblivious, and you wonder why their viewership drops off and no one's buying newspapers anymore, because they don't know anything that you can't find out on like the Peninsula Crime Watch page or by listening to the Scanner. Anyways, peace.